So I just ran a half marathon. I ran 13.4 miles this morning. And that's going to be my last long run before the ultra marathon that I just signed up for. So I'm planning to run a 24-hour ultra marathon in Paso Robles next week. It's a week away. Today's Friday and the race starts Saturday to Sunday. So the race basically is a 2-mile loop, and it's around a winery. So you're running around a vineyard basically. And you do a 2-mile loop and you continue running as many 2-mile loops as you can until you basically just can't run anymore. Or you run out of time, which is 24 hours. Your time runs out at 24 hours. So probably the winners will do like 100 miles or so. But for me, my goal is really, I'd be happy to reach 60. I'd be thrilled to reach 80. But I'm pretty confident I could do at least 50 miles. So we'll just see how far we get, you know. Hopefully between 60 and 80 miles, I think would be a success for me. But I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. And frankly, I just had COVID last week. So that's kind of a setback in my training. I was in really outstanding shape up until I had COVID for a week. And so that was a week of downtime, kind of like 3 weeks before the race. Not cool at all. It was kind of a last minute thing though. I didn't really plan to run this race. I just kind of was looking around and seeing what's out there, and I saw this race. I'm like, oh, 24 hours. That sounds cool, because you know, if you run a 100-mile race, you have to run that 100 miles, or else you just don't get a DNF, right? Did not finish. Even if you did 98, you still get a DNF, so you don't really get a final time. But in a 24-hour race, you're always getting closer to the finish line, even when you're standing still, because the clock keeps ticking. And you just run as many miles as you can. If you can only do 10 2-mile loops and you get 20 miles, then that's what you get. You get 20 miles. But if you do 50 2-mile loops and you get 100 miles, then great. You get 100 miles. Probably the dudes on the podium are going to be in the 90 to 100 mile range, maybe some over 100, I don't know. But anyway, this is by far the biggest race. I've never done anything close to this. I've done a 50K before, which is 31 miles. My single day greatest distance is 46 miles, the Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim. So 2 times across the Grand Canyon. That though, the difference is that comes with a lot of climbing. So there's 11,000 feet of elevation gain on the Grand Canyon. It's quite a lot of climbing in that. And it's extremely rocky, bumpy, rough terrain, you know. There's a lot of steps. It's not smooth, flat trail. So that is definitely a tougher challenge. And then also you got to carry a lot of food with you and some water, not a ton of water, but you do have to carry some water up on the Grand Canyon. So like a year and a half ago, I did the Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim. I've done it twice. A year and a half is the most recent time. And I did that in like, I think 20 hours, 46 miles. So, and I was absolutely dead beat exhausted, just dead afterwards. It took me an hour of just sitting still and resting to recover enough strength just to walk to my car, you know, and drive back to my hotel. So this time, again, I don't really know what to expect, but I think I can do between 60 and 80 miles. I don't have to carry any food. Very limited amount of climbing. The trail is pretty flat and pretty smooth. There's a slight grade to it. So over time, yeah, I'll probably get 5,000 or 6,000 feet of climbing, but it's going to be spread out very gradually throughout the 24-hour period. So I think in those respects, this race is going to be a lot easier. And it's a loop, so I know what to expect on the trail. There's not really going to be any surprises, right? You're doing the same loop over and over. So there's some pros and cons. It's on the con side, it's probably going to be a little bit boring, running the same loop in the same scenery for 24 hours. But I don't know. I'm going to go and do my best. If I get really tired, I can take a rest or a nap or something if I really need to. I hope not. I'm going to start out slow. My plan is to start out at like a 12 to 15 minute per mile pace, and try and sustain that overnight, because the race starts at 6 p.m. That's the other nice thing. This race starts at 6 p.m. So you get to run for 12 hours, basically in pretty cool temperatures and in darkness. And it probably will get hot. The high temperature currently forecasted is 88 degrees. But that's not until the next afternoon, which is the last 6 hours of the race. So the first 18 hours of the race should be pretty cool and not at all sunny, at least up until, let's say 10 a.m. or something. So the first 2/3 to 3/4 of the race, I think, are going to be pretty cool. I won't have any problem staying hydrated. I'm going to do, say, like a 12 minute per mile pace, average, maybe 12 to 15, if I can. I'm going to try and start out pretty slow, 12 to 15 mile per hour pace, and I'll probably slow down from there, actually. But at that speed, I plan to keep my heart rate really low, not sweat much. Hopefully I won't have a big problem staying hydrated and replacing my electrolytes and all that. So I think the first 2/3 of the race, I think, are going to probably go pretty well for me. And the next afternoon, say between 12 noon and 6 p.m., that last 6 hours, it could get hot. My body will be wearing down, and I'll probably be pretty exhausted by that time. And that's going to be the tough time. So, but by that time I might already have 50 miles down. So anyway, hey, I'll update you on race day. I'll let you know how this goes. I'll make another video to follow up. But training wise, I feel like, I'm in pretty good shape. I've done a ton of 50-mile weeks, some 60-mile weeks. I did 2 weeks on the Appalachian Trail, where I did 115 miles a week, I think, on average. No, I did 215 miles in 2 weeks, so like 107 miles a week average for 2 weeks. So yeah, I've done a lot of miles. I simply haven't done any distances anywhere remotely close to 100 miles or 60 miles. So that is new territory for me. But anyway, I will update you. I'll make a follow-up video to this one when I get to the race, and let you know how things are looking there when I see the course, and I'll let you know how it goes.